Fall is approaching, and that means it is time for Crockpot season. Today we are kicking it off with 10 easy and delicious recipes that you'll want to make over and over this fall. I've got a great variety in store for you, from soups and stews to unexpected chicken dishes. You'll see that one first. So grab your Crockpot, grab your ingredients, and let's cook. Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is Mandy in the Making. Before we get started, I wanna know, when you think of fall and Crockpot, what is that one dish that comes to mind that you cannot wait to make? Also, a portion of today's video is kindly sponsored by Thrive Market. Really appreciate them supporting the channel, but let's get started. Today's recipe comes from Kathy. Kathy said that this particular recipe came from some church friends when she was young, about 50 years ago, and has become a family favorite of theirs. The recipe's name, I guess, was just named after the lady who shared the recipe. It is called Mable White's Chicken. If you were around not too long ago, I did a video on sliders, and we made some Reuben sliders, and that uses Russian dressing. Well, this recipe calls for 8 ounces of Russian dressing. We didn't use much of this, obviously, but this was a 9-ounce bottle. I'm not gonna use this otherwise, so we're gonna use the rest of this in today's recipe. This is pretty much a dump and go recipe. We're gonna use the rest of this bottle of Russian dressing. I'm gonna leave that sitting upside down just so that we make sure we get all of it out. To that, we're gonna add in about 8 ounces of apricot preserves. This is an 18-ounce jar, so I'm gonna use not quite half. We need a pack of onion soup mix. The recipe calls for half a cup of salad oil, so I'm gonna use vegetable oil. And the original recipe called for 2 teaspoons of accent. I remember accent from when I was a lot younger, but isn't that pretty much just MSG? She said she doesn't use the accent. I'm obviously not going to be using that either. Let me know below. Do you still cook with accent? Is that something you remember from a long time ago? So we're just gonna mix this together really well. Now, she does not make this in the crock pot, but we are adapting it for the crock pot because it can easily be made in there. Okay, let's set this to the side. Wait, I forgot I had a little bit of this left in there. Yep, look at that. I'll just mix that together and then we'll set this to the side. I am using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. The original recipe says that you could use a whole chicken cut up, but I am just trimming these up before I put them in there. We just really love thighs, so that's why I decided to use, we're gonna be using 8 of them. And Kathy said that that's what she uses, 6 to 8 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And now all we're gonna do is just pour this mixture over top. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put this on high for 3 to 4 hours. You could definitely do it on low for 6 to 7 hours, probably. Our dinner is almost ready. We're gonna serve this over rice. So I'm gonna get rice started and then it's gonna be time to eat.
It smells delicious.
It does smell so good.
Yeah. I don't know what this is cooked in, but that is delicious.
So he wasn't here today when I put this in the crock pot, so he has no idea. Care to take a stab at it?
Very savory.
So it's Russian dressing, apricot preserves, onion soup mix, and some vegetable oil.
That is good.
Okay, I gotta dig in. Little mess, ma'am. All of those flavors together is like perfection. There's got this, like he said, savory side, but you do have a little bit of sweetness in there too. And you've got that onion flavor from the onion soup mix.
This is good.
It is good. What'd you want to tell Mable White?
Miss Mable done hit a home run.
That's right. I'm assuming Mable is the one that Kathy got the recipe from.
Yeah.
But
Well, Kathy hit a home run too.
she did, for sharing it with us. It's really good, y'all. Okay, I found a piece of chicken that was like in the middle of the thigh. So hopefully, oh gosh, okay, well, she likes it, we're good. Grace. She said, where's more?
What you doing, little girl?
A little booger. Yeah, you. Was it good? Yeah. I want to thank Thrive Market for continuing to sponsor my channel. Here's the deal. In a perfect world, all of our food would be purely organic and everyone would just be eating the most healthy all the time. But we don't live in a perfect world, and It's just easier to make swaps where you can and as you can. So that's where Thrive Market comes in. Thrive Market is a membership-based online grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. And we have really fallen in love with a lot of the products from Thrive Market. Snacks are my downfall. I don't know about y'all, but knowing that I am choosing better for me snacks from Thrive Market makes it just a little bit better. One of our favorite snacks are these peanut butter pretzel nuggets. They have peanut butter on the inside. They are so good. I really hate grocery shopping, meaning I hate leaving my house and going to the store, maybe not finding what I'm looking for. That's why I love Thrive Market, because with just a few clicks, everything is on its way to my door. And I can also read reviews of the products before I purchase them if it's my first time, like these. I love a salty snack. These pretzel crisps are the spicy ranch and they had great reviews, so I'm excited to try these. So as we're running out of some of our pantry staples like these pinto beans, I just add them to my order on the app, and then once my order reaches $49 or over, it ships for free. So that's just kind of how I do my shopping with Thrive Market. I do love their organic pinto beans, black beans. I get them, it's the Thrive Market brand, they're so good. This was brand new to Thrive Market this time. It is called the Double Chocolate Cookie Granola. I plan to put this on top of my Greek yogurt as a snack. I'm looking forward to that. And let me know below, what are your favorite products from Thrive Market? Especially ones maybe that you haven't seen me get, because I want to try them. As we've gotten older, Stephen and I have become very aware of the ingredients that are in the products that we are consuming in our household. And it's a little alarming, and we trust Thrive Market because they have over 1,000 ingredients that they have banned from their site. So when I'm ordering from Thrive Market, I know that we are getting the best of the best for our family. So if you are interested in trying out Thrive Market, when you join today, you'll get 30% off of your first order. That's on top of their already low prices. So just go to thrivemarket.com/mandyinthemaking to get 30% off your first order and your free gift worth up to $60. Tonight we are having shredded beef tacos. To get started, I've got this large skillet. We're gonna heat it to medium high because we are going to sear our chuck roast before it goes in the crock pot. We really don't have much prep with this one. We just need to dice an onion. It said a medium onion. I had a half of a large onion left, so I'm just gonna do that. And to make it easy on myself, I'm using my little dicer. He's leaving to go do some yard work over at his grandmother's house. Okay, so this has been heating to medium high. We're gonna add in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and less salt and pepper. We're just gonna do one side. I'll put this side down and then we'll salt and pepper the other side. Okay, seasoned side went down. I'm gonna season the other side now. And this is just gonna sear for a couple of minutes on each side. Come on, man. There we go. This is done for now. So I'm adding this to my large crock pot. This is about a 3-pound chuck roast, by the way. Now we just need to mix up all the other goodies that are going in there with it. In this medium bowl, I'm gonna add about a half a cup of orange juice. It does have the measurements on the side, so I can kind of see what I'm doing here. We need a half a cup of beef broth. We need a couple of teaspoons of lime juice, a half a teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, a teaspoon each of cumin and smoked paprika. You need about 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. And I'm just gonna whisk this and combine it. Let's smell it. You gotta give it the smell test. Oh man, that smells really good. Let's take this and pour it over our roast. Now let's add in our onion. We've got that diced onion. And we're gonna add in a can of Rotel as well. We are gonna put the lid on this. You can cook it on high for 4 hours or low for 8 hours. So I'm gonna do mine on low. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start it on high for about an hour. And then I'm gonna come in here and switch it over to low because it is already 11 o'clock. And if we do 8 hours, it won't be ready until 7. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Do you see this? It's just coming right apart. Okay, y'all, I did warm my corn tortillas on the stovetop. We've got some fresh tomatoes from our garden that I'm gonna add on top and a little bit of cilantro. So Stephen scooped out some of the sauce from the crock pot. He had a little sour cream and a little Cholula on his.
Dip it in the sauce here, get it all nice.
Oh.
And, uh-oh.
It's falling apart.
It tore up. Let's try it again. Dip.
There you go.
Mmm. Well, that's really good. There's some spice in there too. A little bit of spice. Maybe from the Cholula. I don't know.
Yeah, probably from the Cholula.
Messy. I love messy.
Don't I know it? This is dinner tonight. I'll come back and let y'all know what I think. I didn't get me any dipping sauce. Will you share? So I made a disaster of mine. So tell me in the comments below, how do you warm corn tortillas so that they don't just completely disintegrate when you're eating? Mine always fall apart. I've warmed them. I've tried them cold. I've tried them warm. Do I need to toast them? I don't know.
I think you're supposed to pan fry them.
Like fry them up? Like make them hard?
I think you're supposed to. I'm not going to tell nobody else.
It doesn't really matter though because it was still delicious. It definitely did have a little spice to it. Steven's right. I think it must be the Rotel. He got, how many more did you have? Did you have a couple more?
Yeah.
And now you just went back and got some more shredded beef and toppings. So it's
good.
It's so good, y'all. We definitely recommend this one. Maybe go with flour tortillas though. We're doing Mississippi chicken. However, we're gonna turn them into sliders. There's just a piece of fuzz just floating. Got it. So I'm sure most of you have tried Mississippi pot roast. If you haven't, I highly recommend. I've been told a gazillion times to do it with chicken. I don't love chicken breast in the crock pot. The more I learn about it and just the more I've cooked chicken in the crock pot, you really have to be careful with it or it dries out, but chicken thighs won't dry out. So this is so simple. I'm using my smaller crock pot. I am halving the recipe that I saw online, so I'm only doing 4 chicken thighs. If you were doing the whole recipe, you'll need 6 to 8 chicken thighs, but you'll also need 2 things of the King's Hawaiian rolls for later. With our small family, this is all we needed. Next, we're just going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of dry ranch powder. If you're doing this amount and you are using a pack, you'll use about half, well, 3/4 of the pack, maybe, not quite the whole pack. Now I've got pepperoncinis. We're not going to use the whole thing. I don't know, 4 or 5 of them, and just place them kind of around. And we are going to pour a little bit of the juice in here too. Now we need about 4 tablespoons of butter. I've just sliced it up really small. We're just gonna place this all over the top, and optional, but y'all know we love a little bit of heat. I've got some crushed red pepper, just like a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon, not a lot, just to add a little extra heat. I'm gonna be cooking this on high because it's already the afternoon, but you can cook this low and slow all day, but I'm just gonna do it on high. It smells really good in here.
It does smell good.
The chicken is done. We've got the oven preheating. We've got all the ingredients that we need for the sliders portion. Oh, except the Gouda cheese. There's sliced Gouda. Will you get it out for us? I'm gonna use my little mix and chop tool to shred this chicken right here in the crock pot. All right, let's remove the pepperoncinis, babe. Go right ahead.
I love this little tool.
It is great.
Flavor in that water or juice.
It's butter.
Butter.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's a lot. There's some juice in there too, but there's a lot of butter. So I'm just slicing all of these in half. This knife is perfect length for this. It gets it all the way through. Ta-da! So I've got about 1.5 tablespoons of butter here that I just melted. We need about 1/2 tablespoon of the dry ranch powder and about 1/2 tablespoon of dried parsley. Let's just mix that together. This is gonna go on top in just a minute of the rolls, but let's start assembling. We're gonna let this hang out for just a minute. We've got mayonnaise and spicy brown mustard. Let's layer this on there. I mean, it's gotta be Duke's though. Gotta be Duke's. I can't tell you, have I ever purchased anything other than Duke's in our 23 years of marriage? I don't think I have.
I don't think so.
Okay, now let's do our mustard. Because my mom always had Miracle Whip. My daddy was always a Duke's guy, but my mom always loved Miracle Whip. So I grew up on both. Maybe when we first got married, I got some Miracle Whip, I don't know. Now you're gonna take your chicken and start layering it here on your sliders on that bottom. I'm trying to drain it a little bit as I'm picking it up out of the juices. So I've got sliced Gouda cheese. If you don't like Gouda or if you can't find it at your grocery store, use provolone instead, that's fine. Now here comes our butter mixture. So you're gonna cover this tightly with aluminum foil. And this is going in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. And then the last 5 minutes, we will remove the foil off the top. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Let's remove the foil. And it's just gonna go back in for just another 5 minutes or so.
That's amazing. Man, that is so good.
Is it a new favorite slider?
Oh man, this is like...
When you have no words, that's a big deal.
How can you possibly get this? I mean, there is just so much to talk about. The flavor of the chicken is unbelievable.
I know.
I mean, it is just unbelievable. You know, the slider's got that like buttery, you know, kind of flavor to it. And then with that chicken flavor, the spiciness of it, that cheese is delicious with this.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad. Cole has already devoured one whole slider. Cole. We get one. Oh. Yes. I done good. And I've heard of people doing sliders with their leftover Mississippi pot roast before. But this is excellent. This will probably be in a favorites. I don't have any Gouda for Luda. This one I made this morning before we left for church, but I wasn't quite presentable yet. So I filmed it just making it, putting it in the crock pot. It's a Hashbrown casserole, but with more of a Mexican Tex-Mex flair. I found a recipe online and kind of tweaked it a little bit, so I'm excited to give it a try.
It smells delicious.
So let's go back in time. I'll show you how to make it. I'll show you this morning me putting it in the crock pot. We just got home from church and we're about to eat lunch. I'm just going to throw this out. I'll be back. Let me grab another one. Take two. Onion 2. Just going to cut this small onion. We're going to brown it or throw it in with our ground beef. Okay, I've got this large skillet heating to medium-high heat. I'm going to add in 1 pound of ground beef. Now in with the ground beef, In with the ground beef, I'm going to add in our onion. And closer to it being done, I'll throw in some garlic as well. Maybe a tablespoon. Okay, the rest is just throwing it all in here. I've got how many ounces is this? 30-ounce bag of shredded hash brown potatoes, frozen. I'm gonna work on breaking that up a little bit if I can. That's like a block of ice. You know, this is not the best way to do this. I should have let them sit out a little bit longer so I could mix it easier. You work out your frustrations this way and also make a mess. They're shooting all over the counter, so there's that. Moving on. I did drain my ground beef because it was not super lean. Next, we're gonna add in a can of cheddar cheese soup. If you can find the, what is it called? No, not nacho cheese, maybe Fiesta cheese. That would be really good in this. I can't always find that one. Do they still make that one? I don't even know. I drained this as good as I could, but I have a can of Rotel going in. We're also gonna add in some taco seasoning. I make my own, but if you have a pack, just put in a pack here at this point. Let's start stirring all of that together. And lastly, we're gonna add in about a cup of this taco blend, or you can get the Mexican blend cheese. We're gonna mix that through. And then we're gonna take the remaining cup and put it over top and just leave it sitting on top. We're gonna put the lid on this. I'm gonna cook it on low for 4 to 5 hours while we're at church. And then we'll have lunch when we come back. If you're more in a hurry, you could do this on high for just a couple of hours. Okay, so we just got home from church and this is ready. Let's see if it fogs you up. No, I did good. That smells so good. I wish you could smell this. Oh man, let me bring y'all close up. Look at that. Stephen is over here serving it up for us.
Good. Looking forward to diving in.
We put a little bit of, well, I put sour cream on mine. And then we have an avocado that we had that was ripe and ready to use. So added some avocado.
Got some good spices in there, I can tell. That's good.
Is it?
Comfort food, spicy Tex-Mex sort of flavors.
Good.
The hash browns are cooked really nice. Obviously, they're not like crispy, you know, they're kind of, I don't know. We've had something similar to this before. They're sort of the same texture as like the hash browns you'd get at like the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
If you've been there and you have their hash browns, very similar to that consistency. Really good.
Did you say Crackle Barrel?
Crackle.
It's hard not to say Crackle Barrel.
Flavors in this are really good.
Good.
Really nice. Very rich. Got that beefy flavor to it.
All right. We got 2 thumbs up over there from the peanut gallery. All right. Well, I'm digging in. I'm hungry. This is delicious. The guys are loving it.
I think there's a lot of things you can do with this. Like this could be a side.
Yeah.
This could be like an entertaining type of dish.
Right.
You could do like a breakfast bowl with it.
Oh yeah, like a Southwest breakfast bowl with it.
Just a lot of different applications, but the flavors in this are really good.
Yeah, they are.
Very good.
And you know what? It's not fall yet, but I don't know if y'all can tell. You probably can't. You can't really tell, but it is very gloomy. It's been raining all morning. So it's gloomy and kind of chilly outside. So this is like the perfect lunch to come home to after church. So I highly recommend. And then just kind of play around with the recipe. Add things that you like. You could add corn to this if you wanted to. Black beans. I mean, there's lots of different things that you could do. But this is delicious. Yvonne sent us a recipe for pork tacos. Let's get started. So we're going to be using this boneless pork butt. It is pretty much 5 pounds. I think she said to use 3 or 4 pound, but we're just gonna go with what we have. Had that in the freezer. It's been thawing out in the fridge for a couple of days now. And we also need this whole thing of salsa verde, some ranch, some taco seasoning, and an onion. That's it, y'all. Okay, this had a lot of extra fat on it, so I trimmed it up just a little bit. And I've got this large skillet heating up to about medium-high heat. I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil in there. And we're just gonna sear this. We're not obviously cooking it all the way through, just gonna brown it up a little bit before we put it in the crock pot. All right, to the bottom of our large crock pot, I'm gonna add in 1 small onion that I've chopped. Now on top of that, we're gonna put our seared roast. This thing is 5 pounds. It is not light. We'll see if I can pick this up out of the pan. It's still sizzling in the pan. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, seriously? You would just season it all over with a ranch pack. I have this, so I'm gonna use 2.5 tablespoons or so. And you need to do it all over. So I need to flip it, but first let's put on some taco seasoning too. You'll also need some taco seasoning. I make my own, but again, if you have the pack, just use 1 pack. So a couple of tablespoons of my taco seasoning. Not rub it in with my hand because it's hot, but now let's flip it over. That wasn't too bad. And do the same thing on the other side. More ranch and more taco seasoning. I think that's enough, 2 tablespoons of each. Pat that in on that side. I'm so professional over here. And then lastly, we're gonna pour this whole jar of salsa verde. It's a 16-ounce jar. Why? I can never open these things. That's why this thing is my best friend. Every time it works. Okay, and this is gonna cook on high for about 4 hours for me. If you're doing low, you're gonna do about 6 to 8 hours, just depending, I guess, on the size. I'll see y'all in 4 hours. My house smells so good. I keep going outside and sitting on the porch, and when I walk back in, I'm like, oh my gosh. It smells so heavenly. I just checked the internal temperature of my pork roast just to make sure we were good, and we're more than good. So I'm gonna take it out and use my meat claws and go ahead and shred this. Okay, let's see if I can pick it up with my claws and move it over here to this cutting board. Ta-da! Okay, so somebody told me this is how I'm supposed to do it. Like, they're facing like this. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do. Okay, let's see if this is shreddable. Just gonna take a little. Let me put my apron back on. I'm about to splatter this all over myself. Apron is on. Okay. I hope this will shred. Okay, y'all, this is not shredding as nicely as I would want it to, and it probably would have done better if I would have cooked it on low all day. So that's my bad. But, I mean, it's working. It's just that it's not going as easily as I had hoped it would. Okay, to make things easier and quicker, I did break out a knife and just cut some of it, just because it was taking so long to try and pull it apart. I just heated up the rice from last night as well as the queso from last night. Let's eat. So tonight we're using the street taco size just because that's what I had on hand. And that's what Stephen prefers, he says, so.
I like the corn tortillas.
Yeah, they're really good. He said that you should double them up though, so that's what he did. We've got some fresh jalapeno and some fresh cilantro. And then we have our leftover rice and the cheese. Gracie said, did somebody say cheese? Oh my. Cole is chowing down over here next to me, and he is very happy. Oh, Cole put some of this on his.
A little hot sauce on there too.
Oh my goodness, look at that. So Cole suggested, and so did Stephen.
Yeah.
let's grab some of that juice
Now,
to dip it in.
If you just had just a little bit of lime juice to put in there.
But set it over the top, yeah.
But it's going to be good anyway.
Yeah, we don't have any limes, so we're going to work with what we got.
Fine.
That's right. Uh-oh. This is not a clean eating meal. This is a messy meal for sure. You don't care, do you? We'll be back in about 30 minutes after he's done eating about 30 tacos.
This is exactly what you want right here. Amazing flavor. Most of the street tacos I've had with beef.
Right.
This one's just with pork.
Yeah.
Same great flavor. Truly special taco night for sure.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely. I'm so excited. We poured a little bit of the queso on top of my rice.
This is absolutely delicious.
It really is. This is like going to a restaurant. Yvonne, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
This is excellent. And I love that it was just a couple of ingredients. It really was, there was nothing to it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am going to be doing one that I saw on one of my friends' YouTube channels. It is called Chicken Cordon Bleu Soup. We're gonna make it in the crock pot. This is my friend Amber, who I lovingly call Glamber. She did this on her channel. So I'm gonna link all of her information below so you can go check her out. If you're looking for more food content, she's your girl, go check her out. But she kind of combined 2 recipes into one to make this one. And we're gonna do it in the crock pot. We're gonna use the rotisserie chicken, if I can find one. I've been to 2 stores now and not been able to find one. So I've gotta go look for one. Crossing my fingers. But I don't have to put that in until later. So let's get started on what we need to do now. We don't have too much prep work to do. I just need to chop these 2 red potatoes. I'm gonna peel and chop these carrots and then chop up this celery as well. To get started, I've got my crock pot here. I'm just gonna start adding in all of my celery, my carrots, and my potatoes. We need about 4 cloves of garlic. I've got about 2 to 3 tablespoons of garlic here. Now I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Let's add in some spices. I've got 1 teaspoon of parsley, a half teaspoon of oregano and thyme, and then about a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. And lastly, we're gonna add in about 2 cups of diced ham. I almost forgot, we need a bay leaf or 2 in here as well. Now we just need to add in our chicken broth. I have reduced sodium chicken broth. We're gonna add in around 5 cups. This one container is 4 cups, so I'll empty this entire thing in there. And I already had one open in the fridge. I'll just add about a cup. That's it for now. So we're gonna let this cook on high for about 3 hours. So it's been a little over 3 hours. It went to keep warm. My potatoes and my carrots should be good and soft. I was able to pick up a rotisserie chicken just now at a Food Lion. So what I'm gonna do now is shred this chicken. We need about 2 to 3 cups of shredded chicken. So now I've taken my lid off. I'm gonna add in my chicken that I just shredded. I'm gonna give that a good stir. I'm also gonna add in this entire pint of half and half, or 2 cups. We are getting a storm. I don't know if y'all just heard that thunder. Sounds like it's a good night for soup, even though it's still hot outside. To my bowl that I had my chicken in, I've got a couple of tablespoons of cornstarch. We're just gonna pull some of this liquid out of here and mix it with the cornstarch. And I know this had gone to warm, but I have turned it back up to high. And I'm gonna add this in. This is gonna help thicken it over the next hour or so. So I stirred that all together. I'm gonna put the lid back on and we're gonna cook it for another hour on high. Okay, we just have about 10 minutes left. So what I'm gonna do now is just take some Swiss cheese and place it in here. We're gonna let that melt. I'm gonna put maybe 4 or 5 slices in. I gotta be careful and not grab the paper in between. Okay, so our cheese has melted. I'm gonna find both of our bay leaves. You're supposed to taste it at the end and add salt and pepper as needed, and I totally forgot to do that. So we just added salt and pepper here at the table.
Oh, wow. Yes. Lots of herbs in here.
Yep.
I like that because it goes well with the chicken.
Also made us some, well, I've kind of burnt some garlic toast under the broiler.
Oh yeah, this is like great rainy weather comfort food.
Which it has been raining today, so that works well. So I think somebody liked it.
Just a tad bit.
Just
a smidgen.
This is so good. There's so much flavor going on in here. Highly recommend. You can't have mine. Go get your
I think I'll have more.
gotta tell y'all a little saying that we say all the time around here. If you look at me and you have affection in your eyes and you say, I like you, what do you follow that with?
You can come over to my house.
We always say that. We say, I like you. You can come over to my house. So he just came in here and he said, I like this soup. You can come over to my house. It's good. This is spicy Mississippi pot roast. So let's do it. This is pretty much exactly like a regular Mississippi pot roast. We're just making a couple of changes. One of those changes is this is a spicy ranch pack, a pack of au jus. 1 stick of butter is just gonna lay on top. And then instead of pepperoncinis, you're going to use hot chili peppers. I'm gonna insert a picture here of the kind that she used. I looked at 2 different grocery stores. They were completely out of those. So we're just gonna go with these jalapeno peppers. There we go. Best invention ever. So we need about half of the juice of this jar. I wish these were whole peppers like she uses, but we're just gonna do what we can. I'm gonna put the lid on this and we're gonna let it cook low and slow all day, and I'll see y'all back here in a little bit. This has been cooking all day. I just turned it over to warm because it is more than ready. Now I'm gonna make some mashed potatoes to go with it. This has been smelling of her kitchen all day. Gracie Lou is all about it too. Gracie, this is very spicy, sweetheart. You can't have this. Okay, let's put some taters on our plate first. How about it?
Taters.
Taters.
That is the proper terminology, isn't it?
Taters.
This is going to be amazing. I know it's going to be amazing. I can smell it. I can see it. The juice in this, the gravy and everything. I mean, look at this. Wow. That's tons of flavor and spicy.
Yes.
Oh, man, but it just melts like butter. It is spicy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is spicy.
Good. I'm so glad.
I love it. Oh, and the meat just melts.
Yeah.
It just melts. And with that gravy, the flavor in that gravy.
I had a feeling this was going to be a huge hit.
This is probably the most flavorful roast beef in the crock pot I've ever had.
Okay. And y'all, I've had just 2 bites and I can confirm that.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's the best roast beef recipe I've ever had in my life. It's changed my life.
In your how many years?
Changed my life.
How many years?
Over 40.
Over 40?
Listen, I don't know why it is so tremendously flavorful, but I feel like that's the way Mississippi pot roast should be.
Yeah, I agree. Let me explain something though about the spiciness. It's not spicy as in my mouth is on fire.
It's like a bite. It's like it just bites you real quick.
It's just so quick. And the most of the spiciness is in that kind of gravy sauce stuff. Because, you know, I poured the jalapeno juice in there. So that's where the spiciness lies. So the more that you put on there, the spicier it gets. But if you like spicy, you have to make the spicy version of Mississippi pot roast. For tonight's dinner, I have made beef stew many times. But this one seemed like a very rich in flavor, hearty beef stew that I wanted to try. It's always fun to try new recipes and see which one you like the best. It's going to be so simple. I actually put it in the crock pot this morning. We're about to eat now. So let's go back in time and I'll show you how I made it. And then I'll catch you back here when it's time to eat. So I've got about 1 pound of stew meat here. I did chop up some of the larger pieces into smaller pieces. They're about 1 inch now. So I'm going to salt and pepper them first, and then we will toss them in some flour, and then they're gonna go over here into a hot pan with some olive oil. So we're gonna test it and make sure the oil is ready. I'm not hearing a sizzle yet. You wanna make sure your pan is good and hot. Now we've got some sizzling going on, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of these in here. You don't want to overcrowd your pan, and we're just going to brown these for like 45 seconds on each side, and then we're going to remove them. So we are definitely not cooking them all the way through. We're just searing these. Bless you. Okay, so these are good and browned. We're going to remove them to a plate and do the next batch. And once I am done browning all of the meat, I'll be back. Okay, to my hot pan, I just added a tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna let that melt. And to our butter, I'm gonna add in our onion that we already diced. And we're just gonna start to cook this for just a couple of minutes. We're gonna get it softened. And in that last minute or so, I'm gonna add some garlic. This is just a couple of cloves of minced garlic. We'll cook this for about another minute, and then we're gonna head over to the crock pot. Okay, in the bottom of our crock pot, we are going to put our stew meat. And right on top of there, we will add in our onions and garlic. Now I'm gonna add in a half a cup of red wine. This is Cabernet Sauvignon. You could use Merlot as well. And if you don't want the wine, if you don't want to use wine, that's totally fine. Just up the amount of beef broth that you have. Now I'm gonna add in some better than bouillon. Add in about a teaspoon of it. This is the roasted beef flavor. 2 cups of beef broth. About a tablespoon of the Dub sauce. We need about a tablespoon and a half of tomato paste. I'm gonna stir this around to distribute it a little bit. Now I'm gonna add in my 2 carrots and 2 celery stalks that I've chopped. I've got a little over half a pound of the Yukon Gold potatoes that I quartered. Now on top, I'm just going to lay this sprig of rosemary and 1 bay leaf. And that is it, my friends. We are gonna put the lid on this, and you can cook this on high for 3 to 4 hours or low for 7 to 8. I'm gonna do a mixture of the two. Because it is 11 o'clock right now, so I'm going to do high for, let's do an hour and a half, and then I'll switch it over to low for the rest of the day. So I've got rice going on the stove. We're gonna serve this with rice tonight since we've already had potatoes this week. I'm going to remove our rosemary. I'm going to attempt to remove it. There we go, got it. And also our bay leaf. Got it. So I had full intentions of coming in here and trying and thickening this some, but I think the flour, I mean, this is not, it's not thick by any means, but it's not super, super runny either. I don't know that I need to thicken it. Executive decision made. I am going to thicken it a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove some of the sauce here and put it in this really small saucepan. And I'm gonna add a little bit of cornstarch to it and bring it to a boil on the stove. You could definitely add cornstarch in here, but if it's not boiling, it's really not gonna do a whole lot. You have to get it to boil so that you can really get it to thicken. So we're gonna whisk that together. I'm gonna go grab my whisk and put this on the stovetop. Okay, I'm gonna let this come up to a boil and let it thicken, and we're gonna pour it back in and stir it in really well with the rest. So that took about a minute. It really did not take long at all. You can tell how thick that is. So let's stir this back in, and that just kind of thickened up the entire thing. That is exactly what you want out of a beef stew. Yep. Got some rosemary sprigs hanging on there. That looks like perfection. Let's eat.
Well, you delivered again.
Yeah, it looks.
I asked for a beef stew, and you did it.
I did.
This looks amazing. The smell, it's been smelling good up in here all day.
This house, oh my word, it has smelled so good all day.
Yeah. Oh man, it's nice and warm on this cold winter day. Is it winter yet?
It is not.
It's not winter. It
It's
feels
still
like
fall.
winter. It still feels like winter. That is classic beef stew right there.
So, I've made beef stew in the past numerous times. How does this one rank, do you feel like?
Way up there. You can definitely tell that the wine enhances the flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Someone is over here. She just cannot be quiet while Dad is eating. No, you just can't do it, can you? Gracie Lou. Honey, you can't have it. I'm so glad that I didn't skip out on the wine. The wine just adds such a richness to it. I love cooking with wine. It really does make a difference.
This meat just falls apart.
Yeah, it does.
You don't need teeth to eat that.
You don't need teeth? Okay, well, good thing. We still have teeth though. But you don't need them apparently.
No, you can just gum it.
It does just fall apart. Look at that. Completely falls apart. My dad's baked potato soup recipe, and we swear by that recipe. That's the only one I ever made. With that being said, I am willing to try another one, especially since this one is in the crock pot and it's super easy. So just know we will be comparing this one to my dad's recipe, but this one sounded really good and it's very easy and it's got bacon in it. So let's make it. To my large crock pot, I am adding all of our diced potatoes. I did go ahead and peel these, and then I'm dicing them pretty small. The recipe calls for about 3 pounds of potatoes. This is gonna make about 8 to 10 servings. So I plan on having this for leftovers tomorrow. Now on top of our potatoes, I'm gonna throw in 1 large onion that I've diced. The recipe calls for 8 cloves of garlic minced. So I just grabbed, I don't know, a lot of garlic from my refrigerated minced garlic. We are gonna add some salt and some pepper. It's about a teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of black pepper. The recipe also calls for about a teaspoon of garlic salt, a tablespoon of dried parsley flakes. If you're using fresh, that's fine, but you'll wanna pretty much triple it. Do 2 to 3 tablespoons. And then lastly, we just need 6 cups of chicken broth. Okay, that's it for now. We're just gonna put the lid on it and we're gonna cook this on high for 4 hours. I was just kidding, totally forgot. Earlier, I cooked up a pack of bacon, and you wanna reserve some for the top, but I'm going to put some of it in now. I'm just gonna tear it up and put it in now because that's really gonna enhance the flavor as it cooks. Obviously, we're gonna get that good smoky bacon flavor in here. So I think the recipe calls for 10 pieces of bacon. I did not use that. I just used a pack of my Butcher Box bacon. I just felt like 10 was a little excessive, but you do you. So now what I'm gonna do is go through and just mash. You can use an immersion blender. I have one, but honestly, I just wanna try and mash my potatoes to get the desired consistency. So let's do that. Okay, so I don't want mine completely smooth. So you can see there's still some bits here, but I feel like I've gotten the larger chunks mashed up. Now we're gonna add in about 2 cups of sour cream. I'm gonna stir that around, kind of smooth that out. So the recipe calls for 3.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. I've got about 2.5 cups here of a block that I just shredded. And then I also have some Velveeta on hand. I had just a little bit of Velveeta left. So I'm also gonna add that in because that's so creamy and smooth. I feel like that would be a good addition as well. And then if you still want a thicker consistency, you could definitely do like a cornstarch slurry, but I feel like this consistency is pretty good. It's thickened up now that I've put the cream in there and all of this cheese.
It's cold outside.
I know.
This is right up my alley today.
Yeah.
All right. That is really good. Oh man, it's like creamy and cheesy. A little bit of bacon flavor in there too.
Good.
That is really good.
Okay, so.
Very much like a loaded baked potato.
Okay, here's my question. The baked potato soup that I normally make, that's my dad's recipe. That's creamier than this. It's like a thicker consistency. Or this one.
Well, they're similar. Seems like the only thing that's different though is that there's more cheese in this.
Yes, there definitely is more cheese.
Okay.
Cheese.
Yeah. Is there sour cream in this?
There is.
There is?
Yeah, and there's sour cream in Dad's recipe too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like the, I don't know. I feel like the one that your dad made tastes more similar to a loaded baked potato.
Okay.
This is like that plus a little something more because of the way the cheese really comes out.
Okay.
I put them neck and neck, really.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
This particular recipe is a recipe for French dip sandwiches, and we're gonna cook the French dips in the crock pot all day, shred it up, put it on hoagie rolls for dinner tonight, and we'll have the au jus to dip it in. Y'all, it's gonna be good. Okay, this is a very, very simple recipe. I just have our chuck roast here in the crock pot. She said to use a 3-pound. This is a little under 3 pounds, but that'll be fine. We're also gonna add in a can of French onion soup as well as a can of beef consomme. Now, if you've been around for a while, you know I love using these 2 things with rice to make my mom's brown rice. Before we throw that in, I'm gonna add just a little bit of onion powder as well as some black pepper. I know you can hear some loud noises in the background. I do apologize. We're having some things done here at the house and I have to film this, but they have to work. So next we're gonna throw in 3 jalapenos. I am not slicing these. She said you can slice them to make it spicier, but I'm gonna wait and slice these at the end of the day and we can add them to our sandwiches. We're gonna be adding in 1 bottle of beer. You can just use whatever bottle or can that you want. I have this Fat Tire. And we're gonna be adding in 1/4 cup of this. I have never seen this before, or never heard of it before, but she described it as Southern soy sauce. This is the Dale's steak seasoning. We just need 1/4 cup of that. So now we're just gonna pop the lid on, and you're gonna cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. I'm starting mine a little bit later in the day, so I'm gonna do it on high for just a little bit before I switch it over to low. Okay, I've got these carrots that I need to use up. So I'm going to peel these and chop these, and we're gonna make some glazed carrots. Ma'am, can I help you? You're standing on my foot, honey? Yeah, thanks. There's a piece of carrot on the floor next to you. So yeah, it's not cheese. I'm out. Okay, I'm just gonna add all of my carrots to this large skillet, and we'll add some water here and just bring it up to a simmer and let them hang out in that water and simmer for about 10 minutes. That'll get them nice and soft. I'm adding about 2 cups of water. That should be plenty. I'm gonna pop the lid on this just so it will come up to temperature quicker. This has come up to a simmer. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes. And then at the end of that 10 minutes, we will drain off the rest of the water. Tonight, we are gonna be serving our French dips on these hoagie rolls, which I just saw. The expiration date on these does not exist. It says 2/29/23. They are not 29 days this year in February. But anyway, we're gonna go with it. It's well before that date anyway. I just thought that was funny. And she said she puts hers in the oven and bakes them with a little bit of provolone. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I am gonna put a little bit of butter on ours too, and then cover it with provolone and just stick it under the broiler for just a few minutes. I probably should have warmed this butter a little bit. I've got my provolone cheese here. There we go, just on one side. Or do you want it on both sides? Steven said, I don't care. I'm gonna go with both sides because I love cheese. Okay, these are definitely soft enough. I've put my little strainer here on the side. We are just going to drain out the hot water, the excess water. There's not a whole lot of water left. Man overboard. I drained off all that water. I'm gonna add in about 1/2 stick of butter. I think this is about 3 tablespoons. Let's add that in and let that melt down. Okay, our butter is almost melted. We're gonna add in about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm also gonna throw in some salt. And we're gonna let these hang out on about medium heat for 4 or 5 minutes. And then these will be done. Okay, I'm gonna pop these under the broiler for just a couple of minutes. And let's shred our French dips. I'm also gonna grab out these jalapenos. We can slice those up and put them on our sandwiches. So I went ahead and shredded all of our meat. Steven ladled some of the sauce out for us for dipping. I'm gonna throw the meat back in here just so it gets good and juicy. I also just about burnt, or kind of did burn, our hoagie buns, but Steven saved the day on that one.
Oh yeah, that's looking good. I think that's the one I'm gonna put it on. Is that the top?
I don't guess it really matters, babe.
We'll just slide it over there.
There
like
you
that.
go.
Look at that, dropping it on the floor. That's how we roll.
Casualty.
One got away. 10-second roll, you better pick it up.
No. And then
he
he sliced up these jalapenos for his. I think I might do that on mine too, because that's good stuff right there.
Man, look at that. And then watch this right here.
Boom.
Oh,
and then you have some sauce over there, right?
Yeah. Let me show you what I'm working with. Look at that bad boy.
Let's go to the table.
Yep. Really bold flavors in the sauce that we're using.
Classic French dip or different?
Like a spin.
It's like a spin on it?
Spin on it, yeah.
Okay.
With the jalapenos in there like that.
Yeah.
Man, that is a nice touch. Really
Okay.
good. Great roast.
Yeah.
You know, flavors in there. I think the jalapenos, we've had kind of something like that before.
Right.
But to be able to dip it in there,
Yes.
that's just really good.
You gotta try the carrots too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are the carrots good?
That is really good. Buttery.
Yeah.
Really buttery. Got a little sweetness to them as well.
Good. Well, Whitney, we are enjoying this so much. It is so tender and juicy, and this au jus is just right on point. And y'all, these carrots are so buttery and sugary and delicious. that? Sounds like an ogre over there.
A meal like this makes you feel like an ogre.
Okay.
Because it's good and messy.
That's right.
If it ain't messy, it's not going to be good.
That's right. Thank y'all for watching. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't checked out Thrive Market, just go to thrivemarket.com/mandyinthemaking. And when you join today, you can save 30% off of your first order. Plus, you'll get a free gift worth up to $60. I appreciate y'all being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.